In this video I am telling you the amazing facts about Sri Lanka that you may not know. Sri Lanka is one of the most beautiful countries in Asia and is a must-visit for any travel lover. This country truly offers it all, from breathtaking scenery to awesome wildlife safaris. Sri Lanka has two nicknames, the Pearl of the Indian Ocean and the Teardrop of India. The country gets its first nickname due to its natural beauty, incredible biodiversity, and the precious gemstones that are exported out of the country. Its second nickname is due to the country's location and shape. Sri Lanka is almost shaped like a teardrop and is found off the southern coast of India, hence the name Teardrop of India. Sri Lanka only covers an area of 25,332 mi squared, which is just slightly larger than the U.S. state of West Virginia. However, its wildlife is incredibly diverse. It's home to 123 species of mammals, such as elephants, leopards, and crocodiles, 227 species of birds, 178 species of reptiles, 122 species of amphibians, and many other animal species. For wildlife enthusiasts, Yala National Park is a must-visit on a journey to Sri Lanka. And for travelers interested in whales, a trip to Mirissa or Trincomalee is worthwhile. Our post When and Where to Watch Whales in Sri Lanka offers insider tips on the best time and location for spotting whales in Sri Lanka. This customizable 15-day Sri Lanka itinerary includes a safari in Yala and whale watching in Mirissa, 15-day vivid salon tour with whale watching. In 2017, over 50% of Sri Lanka's power was generated by renewable sources, and 20% of that energy came from hydropower. This is down to the sheer amount of waterfalls and rivers located within Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has 15 large hydroelectric power stations across the country, with each one playing its part in fueling the country. Victoria Dam plays a huge part in this as it fuels the largest hydroelectric power station in Sri Lanka. Tea is a big business in Sri Lanka. If you're a tea drinker, your cuppa may come from Sri Lanka, formerly known as Ceylon, a name synonymous with tea. Brought from China in 1824 by the British, the first tea plant on the island was displayed in the Royal Botanical Gardens outside Kandy and has grown into a huge business. This teardrop island nation is still a leading tea producer and exporter, with over 1 million of its 22 million people working in the tea industry. For tea enthusiasts traveling in Sri Lanka, be sure to visit the Ceylon Tea Museum situated just 4 kilometers south of Kandy. It is an ideal place to enjoy a nice cuppa and learn about the history of tea in Sri Lanka. You'll find the exhibits of tea pioneers like James Taylor and Thomas Lipton, who had helped make tea part of daily life in the UK. Adams Peak, otherwise known as Sripada, is an important pilgrimage site in Sri Lanka and is actually the most sacred mountain in the country. At an impressive 2,243 meters, hiking up to the top of Adams Peak is no easy feat, but thousands of pilgrims do just that every year. This very special mountain is important to many different religions, each with its own reason and story of origin. Not only is Adams Peak thought to be the location of Buddha's last footsteps on earth before he reached nirvana, but it is also believed to be where Adam was exiled to the Garden of Eden. Apart from being a large tea producer, Sri Lanka is famous for its cinnamon, an indispensable ingredient for many of its fabulous food. It is said to have originated from the Teardrop Nation and was first found by the Egyptians in 2000 BC. Today, Sri Lanka is still a leading exporter of the world's cinnamon. Cinnamon is known and loved around the world, from cinnamon buns to curries and Indian food. Cinnamon is actually from Sri Lanka and was discovered by the Egyptians as early as 2000 BC, who used it for many things, including as a spice, but also as a perfume in the embalming process. Most of the world's cinnamon still comes from Sri Lanka, 80 to 90%. Sri Lanka has an incredibly high literacy rate, with over 92% of the population being literate. That means a percentage of the population aged 15 and above can read and write a short, simple statement about their everyday life. Also, literacy can encompass numeracy, which is the ability to make simple mathematical calculations. Since Sri Lanka's literacy rate is over 92%, this puts the country at the top with the highest literacy rate in all of South Asia. The Sri Lankan government takes education very seriously and its literacy rate continues to grow amongst the younger population annually. The national flag of Sri Lanka is actually one of the oldest flags in the world. According to legend, Prince Vijaya, who is the founder of Sri Lanka, arrived in the country in the 5th century from Singapore in India. Singapore is also known as Lion City, and since then, a lion flag was the chief flag of Sri Lanka. A golden lion remained part of the national flag until the British colonized Sri Lanka in 1815. During this time the country became British Ceylon and the Union flag replaced it until Sri Lanka gained its independence in 1948. After this, a golden lion holding a sword was then reintroduced to the national flag. Many people believe that the national sport of Sri Lanka is cricket, as it's by far the most popular sport in Sri Lanka. However, volleyball has been the national sport since 1991. The sport was originally introduced to Sri Lanka in 1916 by a gentleman named Voltron Kamak. Afterward, volleyball became incredibly popular and in 1951 the Federation of Sri Lanka Volleyball was formed. The first national volleyball team was formed in 1955 and since then over 60 teams have been formed. Sri Lanka has been inhabited for at least 35,000 years after archaeologists found the remains of the so-called Balango man. Balango man was an early human that lived during the Mesolithic era. These early Homo sapiens had thick skulls, heavy jaw, and large teeth, which is incredibly different from humans today. They were named after the archaeological sites near Balangoda as this is where their remains were first discovered.